Hey guys, it's Jessica here from Jessica's Way. It's been a little while since I've done a video. And sorry for the lighting, it's kind of horrible. At least it's sunny out, yay! So I am late with this video. I'm finally doing my How I Got Fat video. But here it is. So, let me just first of all start off with what's going on right now. A friend, like one of my best friends in the world, came and visited me this weekend, which was super exciting. I was so happy to see her. I've seen her going back home myself, but this is the first time that anyone has come out to visit me other than my parents, so we had a really good time. I did go out to eat a few times, but of course I'm on full fluid diet, so I stuck with my diet and got soup everywhere we went, and tried a few different soups, which was kind of nice, giving myself some variety, and still managed to stay within my diet requirements. So that was great. And what else? We went shopping, and she bought me an outfit, which was super cool of her. And it's like a workout outfit, workout wear or whatever. And I got it smaller. It's tight on me, for the fact that I know in a few months it'll probably fit perfect. So I didn't want to get something that was like big on me now that wouldn't fit 2 months down the road, because I want to wear it for a little while. So when I started this whole process, wearing 4 extra large shirts, and I fit the 2X pretty much perfectly, which was like super exciting. And so I ended up getting the 1X, which, like I said, is definitely like small on me. But it fits. It's just, it shows off all this. And but I'm not too worried about that, because I know in a couple months it's gonna fit fine. So yeah, that was awesome. Got to do some try on some clothes, not really do some shopping because I was broke, but and just realizing that I really truly am losing weight. I'm getting smaller, and fitting clothes is just awesome. Like, it's amazing. It was so much fun for once to go try on clothes. I was just, so happy with it. Today is my last day for full fluids. Today is. So tomorrow I start my clear fluids, and then a week from today I will be flying to Tijuana. Like, holy crap, I cannot believe it's only a week away. I'm still like really excited about it. Excuse me. The nerves haven't really hit me yet, but I think in the coming week, like as we get closer and counting down the days, that I'm gonna start getting a little more nervous. So I just can't believe how fast everything has gone by. So yeah. Anyway, alright, so that's kind of what's gone on now. So let's get down to it. How I got fat. Basically, it started actually when I was really young. I've never been a good eater. When I was really young, I did enjoy vegetables and healthier stuff. And then as I got older, I just was drawn to junk food. And the thing is, I kind of, I've always had a control issue with food. If my parents told me that I couldn't have a treat that I wanted, it would piss me off. Like, even as a kid, like, I'm talking like grade 2. So like 7 years old. It pissed me off. And so I, very young, got into the habit of like sneaking food. So I would, get cookies and bring them down to my room, and I was always like hiding wrappers and everything like that under my bed. So that was a bad habit right from the start. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact, like my control issues with food and everything, with the fact that I'm not going to really go into detail, but I did have like a traumatic incident when I was young, like 6 or 7, and that I think plays a definite role in my issues with eating, and like food being a comfort for me, and also the control aspect and all that sort of thing, and that just carried on through my whole life. And then I think now it's gotten to the point, like I've seen psychologists and counselors and stuff, and kind of worked on kind of dealing with what happened and that sort of thing, and why I'm a compulsive overeater, and that sort of situation. And I think that for the last few years, it hasn't so much been the after effects of that, but just the fact that it was just a habit. I had been living like this for 26 years of my life. I didn't know anything else. I was so used to what I was eating and the foods. My palate totally changed, and not all I ever wanted to eat was like crap food. So anything really that was healthy for me, I didn't like it, and it just, it was so much effort because it was an entire lifestyle change. So, I think just that habit forming made it a lot more difficult. And then, there's a lot of things in between. Like when I was young, like I said, I ate horrible, but as a kid, pardon me, I really, I may have been a chubby kid. I was always the big girl, but that's because I was always the tall girl. And I do have like a bigger build. I'm not ever going to be a tiny person ever, because I'm just like naturally very broad and big boned. Like as a kid I wasn't a fat kid or anything, but I was very, very active. My mom ran a home daycare, and there were 5 boys, just like 2 or 3 years younger than me, and they were like my family. All of them were, and so between the boys and the younger, like toddlers, and I was constantly running around. We played outside all the time, doing hide and go seek in the woods, and playing on the jungle gyms, and just being kids. And then when I got into more into junior high and stuff, I was very active in sports, so that also helped keep my weight down. And then when I got into high school, gosh, when I got into high school, I, again, was still really into sports. I loved volleyball and basketball. I was a bowler. I enjoyed curling. Like pretty much anything. I just enjoyed being active. But my knees really started to bother me around that time, like getting into grade 9. And because of that, I ended up quitting pretty much every sport that I did, because especially stuff like volleyball and bowling and curling, like it was just way too painful on my knees. And so when that happened, I kind of, I lost a lot of friends really, because it was so cliquey, and either you were like on the sports team or you weren't, and those people were your friends, or who were your friends kind of didn't have a whole lot to do with you anymore once you quit. So I found that I was just a lot more lonely. I wasn't active anymore, and because of all this, I kind of got depressed and I just started eating more. And it just sort of blew up from there. Like, I gained so much weight in high school. And by the time I graduated, I would say that I was like 240 to 250 pounds by the time I graduated. So, yeah, I mean, it's just life, I guess. And then I tried ever since high school, like ever since grade 10 probably, different diets and trying to lose weight and all sorts of different things, and just could never stick with anything. I did have some success. Pardon me, I don't know why I'm so tired. I did have some success on some of the diets, like Weight Watchers and stuff. But even when I lost weight, like I never really got the, like, saw any of the physical changes, or, lost a significant enough amount of weight to really see the impact of the diet. So it never kept me motivated enough to actually, like, stick with it. And it just became easier to not think about food, to just eat what I wanted to eat what I wanted to eat, and And so it was when I was in university. I was 19 or 20 years old, 19 I think. And I'd been feeling just terrible, like sick all the time, very, very lethargic and fatigued, and just like I knew I wasn't well. And so I had kind of felt for a few years by this point that I was diabetic, but I'd never actually checked, like, just based on symptoms and stuff. Like, I suspected that I was. And so I finally, after just feeling terrible enough for long enough, went to a doctor, and I was phobic of doctors as a kid / teenager. Holy cow. I had a tumor on the back of my neck when I was 10 and had it for 2 years. Let it grow to the point that, like, I couldn't, like, move my neck because it was, like, kind of right up against my spine. And I hid it from my parents. Even at that age, like, I remember specifically thinking that it could be cancer and that I could die, but I'd rather die than go to the doctor. I don't know where my phobia of doctors came from, but I was terrified of them. So, anyway, I finally sucked it up when I was 19. I said, I'm tired of this. I went to the doctor, told him I think I'm diabetic. I can't believe how much I'm yawning. And he sort of laughed at me, but then he sent me for the blood work anyway. And I was right. Turned out I was diabetic. I got a call, like, the next day, and then within a couple days I was in a diabetes education program, and then from there everything just started really spiraling out of control. Shortly after, I was put on my high blood pressure medication. A couple years later, I was put on my cholesterol pills for hyperlipidemia, or high cholesterol. I found out when I was 22, maybe, that I had a polycystic ovary syndrome again, just because I went to my family doctor. Oh man. And so just, like, based on these symptoms and my knowledge of PCOS, like what I had learned about it, like, I thought that it was something that I possibly had, and we got me in to see a gynecologist, got the test done, and sure enough I had it. And so, all these things, like, I've had 2 knee surgeries since I was 20, on both knees. and like I have chronic pain in my back and hips and knees and pretty much everywhere. Pretty sure I have fibromyalgia because I have just kind of full body pain randomly everywhere. But I've never bothered going to the doctor to really find out because, I don't take pain medication and stuff like that, so, whatever. Even if I found out I did, it wouldn't make a difference. And then 2 years ago is when I started having problems with my heart rhythm. Like, I was having sinus tachycardia very severely, where my heart rate would be like 150 to 160, and it just felt like it was like booming in my chest, and I would get palpitations and different stuff. And then finally, one day at work, I like almost passed out, and my blood pressure was really high, and my heart rate was really high, and I was a nurse's aide at the time, and so my charge nurse made me go to the emergency room, and they were giving me medication through an IV to bring my heart rate down, and it still wasn't going down enough, and they were kind of dismayed because, normally it works very well, and it still was above like 120. So then they started me on metoprolol, like pills for my heart rate, which are working very well now. Now that I've lost weight, my heart rate is like 50. So that's a really huge difference. And then I had a whole bunch of tests done with a cardiologist. So like I did a Holter monitor, and 22 out of 24 hours my heart rate was above 110, which was really bizarre. And then they did an echocardiogram, found out luckily that my heart, despite the sinus tachycardia and how much it's kind of overworking, like my heart itself, the heart muscle is healthy. There was no like physical problems with my heart, so that was great. But they weren't sure what was causing the sinus tachycardia. They thought that I maybe had like an overactive sympathetic nervous system, and that it would hopefully just sort of like even out at some point. Otherwise, I may be on metoprolol for the rest of my life. If I'm late taking my metoprolol, like at night, or if I forget it at night or something, even now, like having lost the amount of weight I have, I still find that my heart rate will get a little fast. So it remains to be seen whether or not I will get off of the metoprolol once I lose the weight, because I don't necessarily know that the weight is the cause of the sinus tachycardia. But I'm sure, that my other health problems probably has something to do with it. So yeah, I just got to the point where my health was just like total crap, and I literally, my brother had a heart attack at the age of 24. No, it was largely related to his lifestyle at the time. I will say he's not overweight, never has been. But, he was being hard on his body, and he overworked himself, and overworked his heart, I should say, doing, just living the way he was, and it caught up with him. And ever since I hit the age of 24, I was terrified, because, I considered doing to my body with food to be the same thing as what he was doing to his body at the time, even though they were two different things. Either way, whether you drink or do drugs or, binge on terrible foods or do steroids or anything that is hard on your body, like even smoking, all of those things essentially do the same thing to your body. No matter what, you're doing harm. So, just thinking of the fact that my brother, who was and is very healthy, having a heart attack that young, I was like, I'm like 100 pounds overweight and putting this crap into my body constantly. Like, I'm amazed that I haven't had something more serious happen to me up until this point. I'm happy, of course, that it hasn't, but I've also had a lot of scares. So I mean, that's what brought me here. I finally just had enough. Like, I was just ready for a change. Ready to actually live my life instead of just existing. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of like a very brief history on what has gotten me to this point, and how I gain weight and stuff. I think it's important to understand why you are the way you are. Like, because if there was something that happened in your past, that, like, emotionally affects your eating, that's something that you have to work out in order to be able to, get to a healthy weight and maintain that weight, and actually eat healthy for the rest of your life. Because if you don't work that stuff out, then you're just going to end up right back where you were. You need to learn how to cope with your feelings and emotions, and how to not turn to food for comfort, or whatever it is that food is to you. So yeah, I think that's a very important process, is like understanding why you overeat, before you can get better. So yeah, I guess we're at like 22 minutes here, so I should probably stop. So if you're still with me, thanks for listening. And yeah, I will be back in 2 days for my weigh-in, and I am pretty positive, like, I'm 100% positive that I'm in my 250s. So that'll be like, a special celebration weigh-in. So so have an excellent day, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.